What's your read on this night, and what are the states that Frank Luntz is looking at very closely?
So my read is that the turnout is significant. And Neil, it was the one thing that I could not predict until the last 2 or 3 days. I wasn't sure if the negativity and the voters' real disdain for both candidates would yield a high turnout or low turnout. It's pretty clear that people are coming out to vote all across the country, at least in these battleground states. And I've got it down to 5 states. Florida, which at this point leans narrowly to Hillary Clinton, and I'm watching the exit polling right now, and it's pretty significant in Latino communities. I don't mean the exit polling, the early voting, that the Latino vote in Florida and Nevada is not only significant, but it is historic, and it is leaning strongly towards Hillary Clinton. Second state is North Carolina, as you mentioned. Much too early to call, much too tight a race. I think the winner ends up with maybe a % difference. New Hampshire, that you also were addressing, once again, it was a state that Hillary Clinton had a lead up until 3 or 4 days ago. Trump was moving and closing and closing. At this point, it leads narrowly towards the Democrats, but way too close to call. I'm also watching Nevada, that I just talked about, and finally Michigan. If there's one state that will be a surprise for Donald Trump, I think it's Michigan, because of the turnout that we see so far in the blue-collar areas and the fact that the Trump campaign had its best organization in that state. Who knows? It could make a difference.
But if you're right, gaining Michigan wouldn't make up for potentially losing Florida.
You're correct, and if you do the math, I still see this as a narrow victory for Hillary Clinton. I don't see any other way to do the math, but I also say to viewers, because we have to be careful, no projections. There are 5 states that are still in play, and either candidate could still win tonight.
You know, Frank, much has been said of the fact the undercurrents could be very 1980-like, and that we didn't appreciate the magnitude of that undercurrent wave of support for Ronald Reagan until we did. Do you see anything like that manifesting itself or potentially tonight?
Well, I've been looking for that so-called shy Trump voter, the person who won't acknowledge it but actually supports him. And frankly, I haven't found a significant example of it. By the same token, those people who are not willing to acknowledge they are voting for Trump may well balance out Clinton's advantage in some of these states in turnout. Now, the Republicans have a very strong effort in a place like Michigan, where they've won statewide, not for the presidency, but for the governor and for the legislature. Neil, we are ending this campaign with more people disliking both candidates than at any time in modern history, more people wanting this election to be over with, a sense of frustration that they never really got to the policies. It was all about character assassination, but that has not stopped turnout. And all my sources are telling me that people are lining up for an hour or more all across these swing states. Amazing. And that makes this a competitive race.
All right, thank you very, very much. Frank Luntz in Times Square.